Yeah, so today I want to talk about the body and um, what the body represents and what, in my belief, is what we need to do or what is beneficial for the body. Um, yeah, so most religions, oh gosh, most religions will talk about the body being sacred or the temple of God. The body can be used as a symbol of kind of dedication to God or religion or belief, and most people use their bodies as an outward manifestation or outward show of their level of faith, consciousness, or belief, right? So a person who is destructive will show it externally. Bear with me. There's a train. Anyway, there was a train coming, so I had to pause it. So essentially, we can all agree. This conversation is not for the uninitiated. So if you don't understand certain things about certain things, then I would suggest you go back and do some homework first. But this is more for people that have the understanding of how consciousness and the body work. Yes, there was another train, so apologies if the video sounds a bit glitchy there. So the body houses consciousness, right? You don't have a soul, you are a soul, and you live in a body, right? It's not the other way around, because you will leave the body and you will leave this place. A soul came through a portal, a female energy portal to this place, and inhabited a body, right? That's what all life here is about. That's what we all go through. That's the interplay. Some unicellular organisms can separate themselves. That's what science says, but we don't know that. But as far as I can tell, most life comes through the female, feminine energy portals, and from that point on, consciousness takes form. So your body is the temple, is the home of consciousness, the creative force, the operant power, source energy itself, the conduit of light, the river of light, the beginning and ending of everything, the awareness itself, right? Now, my question is, if with this awareness and this knowledge, if you were a can you be quiet? Really interrupted again. Anyway, so with that being said, if I was to give you a genie or some sort of like God, an idol or a shrine or a genie in a bottle, and and it had the power to create anything you wanted, it could transport you anywhere you wanted. It was just it was basically God in a thing, yeah. And I asked you to keep it in a house or design a building for us to put it in. The first question is, where would you place it? You place it somewhere away from very low energy, low vibrational stuff, right? You would not build that house next to a toilet facility or a recycling plant or a refuse heap or where people do drugs or a prostitution alley or whatever, right? You wouldn't do that. So where you place it is very important. And this is a very metaphorical conversation I'm having. So where you place it is very important. Secondly, how would you present that? How would the building look? Structurally, would it be sound? What materials would you make? Would you make it from? Would you make sure that the building was strong? Would you make sure that it was impermeable? Would you make sure it was impermeable to the elements, right? You would make sure it had strong walls and strong foundation, strong building blocks. But even if I gave you the blocks and I told you to build it, you'd make sure you reinforce everything and it would be strong. You wouldn't have it next door to a nightclub. You wouldn't have it, next door to a gambling spot or something, or you wouldn't have it next door to, you wouldn't have it next door to trash, basically, right? The third thing is, what kind of people would you allow into that building? You wouldn't allow just anybody, because you know the value of the artifact that's within that building, correct? So you wouldn't allow certain things in that building at all. It will be non-negotiable for you. It will probably be in a room within a room, locked, barricaded, etc., etc., etc. Now, let's juxtapose and come to the human body, right? If we can accept that the human body is the temple, the house, the home of source energy, consciousness, awareness, God, whatever you want to call it, and it resides within, where do you place your body? Who do you hang out with, bro? I, for one, I'm a very solitary person. I don't advocate this for everybody, but I prefer solitude. I prefer to be by myself, because I know that what is within me gives me all I need. I don't need anybody else, right? Secondly, the second thing is, how would you build the house? What do you consume? What do you eat? When I say consume, I don't just mean food you eat, but if it was a building, what materials would you use to build the house? You'd make sure it's high quality materials, right? You wouldn't just use shitty, cheap blocks and shitty stuff, right? You use good quality things because you'd want it to last. You'd want the building to be protected because you know the value of what's inside of it, right? The same applies to you. What are you eating? What's your diet? What products are you putting on your skin? What products are you putting in your hair, in your mouth? Are you researching enough to see whether this item you're placing on your skin is good for you? This item you're placing in your hair, in your eyes, is it good for you? Is it beneficial? The same applies, because you wouldn't just go and just buy any type of paint and just paint the walls, would you? You'd make sure it's high quality paint that is resistant to X, Y, and Z, and you use that, correct? So what you consume is of key importance, and that's not just on the physical, it's also on the mental. What information are you consuming? Would you have that building next to a nightclub that's playing loud music, vile and vulgar things? Would you allow the vulgar speech of people on the street to be able to come into that house? No, you would extract that house from all of that. So you wouldn't be watching the news, which is just a way for the system to just dump dog shit in your brain on a daily basis. What you consume would be very, very high quality stuff. The music you play within the house would be high quality stuff. You wouldn't just play shitty music in the house, would you? Because you know the value of the item in the house. You'd make sure that the house is always maintained. So you'd go to the gym. You'd pick a sport. You'd make sure that the walls of the building were strong, they were solid. They could resist things. They would be able to last long because of the value of the item within. Yes. And then the third point, I can't even remember what it was. It was because it was the structure, consumption, something along those lines anyway. But you need to come to the realization that if you're not taking care of your body and treating it like a temple that houses the most valuable item there is, which is life itself, and you're consuming shit, you're not looking after your body, you're not looking after your mind, you're not looking after your spirit, you're just allowing the winds in the reality to blow you wherever it wants, taking you into places just wherever it wants. You just, whatever the system says, it says everybody jump, you jump. It says everybody, lay down, you lay down. It says, hey, take this poison and just inject it put it into your building. You just take it and just put it straight into your building. It says everybody should do this, everybody should do that, everybody should wake up and stuff, milk down there, put milk in their bellies, and you do all these things without looking into the actual benefits for your actual temple. You are disrespecting the thing of value within. There are people alive today that would give up all their earthly possessions, all their wealth, just so they can live one extra week, one extra day, one extra hour. They would give up everything of value, untold amounts of money, right? Just to experience this thing called life, which is source energy, awareness, consciousness, or whatever you want to call it, for one more day. And they can't. And if you have it and you don't treasure it and look after the housing of it, then you are very irresponsible. And that just shows that shows your level of awareness and where your consciousness is, and your level of awakening. Because if you disregard the temple that houses God, source energy, awareness, consciousness, life itself, then you are an imbecile. Because how can you ever complain when life doesn't go your way? How could you ever complain when life, decides to leave your body, and then you realize that it's your time, and you're not going to be allowed to have any more experience? How could you ever complain? Do you meditate? Do you take time to have the building, your temple, and to have it in solitude? Allow the birds to sing in peace to it. Do you take yourself into nature? Do you try and walk barefoot and connect with the environment around it? Do you try and turn off all the electronic devices in there so the building can breathe? Do you cleanse the building? Do you disinfect the building? Do you make sure that every item that goes onto the building is of the best quality? And quality doesn't mean money. I'm not advocating you go and buy expensive clothes and drape yourself with that, because those are just expensive signboards that you're just putting on a building. It's like a Coca-Cola sign, like Coca-Cola, drink Coca-Cola, and you just place on a temple. If you do that, you're kind of ignorant, because you're telling people, hey, my temple is cool because we are affiliated with Coca-Cola, and that's kind of dumb, And anyone that knows me on a personal level knows that I like quality things, but you never see me wearing anything that's out and out branded. No way. Even if it's a high quality item, you would never know, right? But that's not the point. You have to treat your body as if it's a literal temple, as if it's a literal building. You need to maintain it. You need to protect it from the elements. You wouldn't just use any old paint on the walls, would you? You use the best quality paint so that whatever elements come, your building can withstand it, right? Because what is housed within that temple is of absolute importance. There are areas of your temple that you would keep closed off to the public. Yes, because you have to. Because they're sacred. So you don't just interact with anybody. You don't just mix with anybody. You need moments of time when you just have to be in solitude, contemplation, meditation. Yes, moments of pure quiet. You have to consider the forces of nature around you. You have to align yourself, just like the temples of old, in Luxor, Aswan, Giza, all these, in India, all these other parts of the world. They align them with the celestial bodies. When I say align them, I don't mean align them like by physically standing somewhere that faces east or west. It means you have to understand how the universe or the world around you works. Yes, these are just codes, guys. Come on. You have to understand. You have to understand how the moon works, how the sun works, how the stars work, how the weather patterns work. right? You have to take time to maintain the building. Take time. You have to have a monthly maintenance schedule, a weekly one, a daily one, an hourly one, a yearly one. Whatever your time frame is, you have to have them and have them at regular intervals. Because if it was a building that housed God on earth, that's exactly what you would do, right? But what makes you think that you are not? What makes you think that God doesn't live within you? Come on, man. People have lost our way. Treat your body like a temple. And I'm not talking about vanity here. Yes, there are people that have a lot of work to do, losing weight because they've let themselves go. They've not eaten the right foods. Anybody that's let themselves go needs to consider themselves as a building that's gone into disrepair, that's housing a pot of gold or a highly valuable item or life itself or the elixir of life. And you've let that building go into disrepair. What do you think is going to happen? It'll be easy for anyone to break into that building and snatch that thing in there, right? And by anyone, that means any energy. Someone can scare you, literally, and you could have a heart attack and life will leave you. They will just come in there and they'll take that thing off you because you are not strong. Someone could give you bad news and you could just develop a cancer. Just like someone could just smash the back door and come in there and snatch that thing in there. You have to be strong. To be weak, right? And it's not just physically weak. There's also mentally weak. You need to be mentally strong. You have to have that building fortified. Mentally, physically, emotionally, whateverly. You have to make sure. Because if that was a physical building that was in your possession or in your control, that's exactly what you would do. Think about the lengths you would go if it was a building that you owned and controlled. Think about it. How would you look after it? How would you look after it? So anything you would do if it was a building of that nature, you have to apply the same tenets to your own life. Why are you eating processed foods? Why are you eating food that you know is bad for you? It's the same as why are you allowing using shitty door locks or shitty hinges or shitty paint on the walls? Why are you doing that? Because you know it's gonna like encourage moss growth and you're gonna have moss everywhere and the building's gonna look shit. Why are you not cutting the grass around it? Why are you not maintaining the gardens? Why are you not maintaining the water bodies around it? Why are you not cleansing it? You have to treat your body like a sanctuary, like the most pure temple ever in existence. Yes, and by you doing that, you allow consciousness, right? You give consciousness the best home it can live in. Consciousness will give you the best life you can experience. 1616. How crazy is that? Almost every time I record, I don't even pick my times. Almost every time I pick a time, every time I don't pick a time to record, it always ends up on one of these. But anyway, this is the message I want to give you. Man, look after yourselves, you know? And by looking after yourselves, you know, protect yourselves, you know? This place is designed to kill you. This place is designed to kill you. It's just what it is, right? You know, watch what you eat. Watch what you consume. Watch what you put into your body. Watch what you put into your mind. Watch what you put into your soul. Watch who you allow yourself to connect with. Watch who you share your information with. Watch whose information you take on. Treat your body like a temple. That's all I gotta say, guys. Love, light, and peace. We're heading to eclipse season. It's going to be a full moon. Oh, we're in eclipse season. Yes, we already had an eclipse. And there's going to be a full moon in Scorpio very soon. Very powerful energies. Harness it. Use it for growth.